Before we start our official meeting, I did want to touch base on something really quick.
That's amazing.
I'm not sure if anyone saw that I had a community meeting on Saturday for the lakes, etc. And at that point in time, I had not been able to find our dam inspections for the last few years. After that meeting, I went ahead and made a call back down to the state. The state was able to get me their copies. Now, I'm not sure why we didn't have any copies available, because that is by law. We are supposed to have them available, and we didn't. Regardless, I do have inspections from 2018, 2019, 2020, and very, very early in 2021. So those inspections were done, just were not kept properly in our office. Okay? So I will be able to give you more information on that during our regular SID meeting with my reports. Okay, but I did want everyone to let you know that I was able to procure those.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Opening prayer. Eric, would you like to do the opening prayer?
Lord, be with us on this meeting. Help our commissioners to make wise decisions. Be with us as we go through whatever transition we may be going through. And ask that the meeting be kept respectfully. If you have a question, the commissioners will answer. I would ask you to do it with respect, not out of anger or anything like that. And just bless this meeting. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do I have a motion to call the meeting order at 6:32?
I second it.
All in favor? Commissioners present?
Fritz,
Johnson?
Murphy, Lang.
Okay. So now on our agenda, all we're going to discuss here, we're going to discuss and vote on the lawsuit pertaining to it going into negotiations with our lawyer. So
Marshall, I can't hear you. Stuff about negotiations.
we will go into negotiation with our lawyers. Jim Lyons is representing the SID, and Mr. Hutchinson is representing all of you, basically. What we need to do is we need to vote to have our lawyer start the negotiation process. And that's basically all we're doing here this evening, is voting on to let Jim Lyons negotiate for our benefit.
For the benefit of the SID.
Yes. Yes.
Represent, it's not so much
He's
for the
representing
benefit,
he's
our
representing
representative.
that's it. So, what I need is a motion
May I ask
to,
a question before you vote?
go ahead.
Have we hired and a certified appraisal to,
We're not at that point yet. We're not at that point. We have to do negotiations first.
well, my question is, how can the attorney negotiate if he doesn't have the facts?
Well, I'm sure he has the facts. He's a good lawyer. He's one of the best. So he does have the facts of here. He used to be the lawyer for the SID years ago.
So is he qualified to, is he a certified appraiser?
He is representing us. He will instruct us on what we need to do. Because he is our lawyer.
So your vote is just to make sure that we accept him as a lawyer?
No, we're voting to start discussions between the lawyers and us as to what's going to happen in the lawsuit. To give him permission to speak to Mr. Hutchinson.
And so some of his discussion will be done while he's investigating parts of the
Correct.
information. He'll gather information and then continue to investigate.
Both of these lawyers are very knowledgeable lawyers.
Okay. Okay.
So, yes.
Can you just briefly describe what the lawsuit is about?
The lawsuit is about illegal taxation. And Deb, can I bother you to kind of explain it more?
It's an illegal exaction lawsuit based on the premise that the assessments that started in '81 were, to a best estimation of the law firm, Hutchinson's law firm, were close to being exhausted already in 2006. And at the point that the assessments are, that people have paid their assessments, when you continue to levy against them, you're charging a tax. And the SID does not have the legal right to tax properties. And as far as an assessment goes, my question would be, because I asked about that many years, is that an assessment's going to cost, I've been told, $75,000, $100,000. How is the SID supposed to afford attorney fees, a new assessment, and then also take the chance that they lose and the next lawsuits to dissolve the SID immediately?
And that's the other thing. We want to get this resolved as quickly as possible so that it's not going to cost us and bankrupt us.
The question I have is, you need to have a certified assessor do the assessments properly.
Well,
Let me finish. All right. As Deborah just said, the assessments were paid off in 2006. Only way that is possible is assuming you had 10% assessment since 1981 through 2006, and that you had a 6% interest rate during that time period. That would be the 26 years, 25 years taken to pay it off. The difference is 4%. You take 4% off. So but in reality, he started out at 3% assessment, and the legal assessment, the legal rate, interest rate was 10%. Then in 1981, 82, the state changed the interest rate to 5% over prime. If you use that assessment, the assessments would never be paid off.
okay.
And then now, as you go back to
Wait a minute. We have a lawyer that is a lawyer handling our case. I'm sure he knows more than you do, and I know he knows more than I do, and that's why he is handling our case for us.
That's why I'm saying you need to have a certified assessment.
I'm
That's
sure
part
he
of
will
it.
tell
Wait
us
a
if
minute.
we do.
My thought.
Go ahead. You
That's
got
part of our
2 minutes.
engineering training.
Here we go.
Engineering economics is part of that. And engineering economics covers all the engineering, all the assessments, all the interest rate trading. And that's part of my licensure. So technically, the assessment that I did is underneath my engineering license, which is admissible in a court of law. It has been. So, I'm just saying, you need to make sure you have an assessment. Even at that 6%, by go lawyer, which was set in 1875, 6%, it was raised, that's why he said 6% maximum. In 1951, it was raised to 10% maximum interest. All right,
Okay,
so
well,
it should be, I'm just saying is
I'm
that
aware of
the
that.
assessments, even at the 6%, you project it out with the information we have in the office on the levies. The assessment will not be paid off for 24 years.
Okay, well,
I'm just saying, you just need to check it out.
I understand that. We will give that information to the lawyer. Deb?
I just want to bring up one thing, that when you're researching, say, your individual property, that I don't know where in the office all these records are, but as far as the county goes, there's a number of years that don't exist. So a lot of this is going to have to be to somebody's best guesstimation. And I also will say this, that from day one that this SID was created, the bookkeeping wasn't done in a proper manner. That you had an assessed value on your, you had an assessment on your property. The SID's obligation was, you paid year one, they applied X amount to the principal, along with whatever interest rate is, and it amortized just like a mortgage, because that's how an assessment is supposed to be handled. An assessment, according to who I think is a good attorney, has more than stated to me once that an assessment can't go into perpetuity, that there is an end date on an assessment. If you don't have an end date on an assessment, you've turned it into a tax.
Okay.
So is the SID supposed to go back on how many lots are here?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. So say there's
Over 3,000.
3,000 lots here. Who here and who's going to pay for them to go back lot by lot by lot? Because there may well be lots that haven't been owned where the assessments are still due. But then there's going to be lots where people have overpaid by a large quantity of money. So then is it better to have a lawsuit, everybody file personally, so that if I've overpaid or somebody else has overpaid by $3,000, they're going to sue the SID to get their $3,000 back? I mean, reality is, this is where it's at. It's either we work together to try to come up with a resolution that's the least painful, the most productive for the future, and the least cost for the SID, because right now we don't even have money to fix roads. We don't have equipment that works. So are we going to throw it all to assessors and accountants and attorneys and have zero to spend on actually doing anything? And then who's going to voluntarily pay their assessments?
And that's the other thing. Everybody does still need to pay their assessments. I mean,
It's $140 a year.
but, so,
Marshall, it just seems like to me that we're conceding that we're wrong without, looking at it.
We're not.
We're not.
Can I make a motion, please? I would like to make a motion that we contact our representative, Jim Lyons, and tell him that the SID commissioners have agreed that we would like him to enter into negotiations with Ms. Longley's lawyer, Mr. Hutchinson, pertaining to the lawsuit that has been filed against us. Second.
all in favor? Okay. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So,
The lawyer is the one who has to make, I mean, we can't make those decisions. You know, so all we're asking him to do at this point is to start the process.
And he's gonna
Start
read all
talking
this. He's
to
gonna go through it.
the other
lawyer's
lawyer.
gonna do what you asked him to do. I mean, he's gonna be in court trying to find you. If, you know, it's just like, even though he might think he might not win, he'll go, I want this, I want that.
We realize that,
Right, and maybe
How is
Deb's,
this any different than Cherokee Village, where it was more than proven and the judge that oversaw their settlement? I mean, and I'm not talking about their reassessment, I'm talking about their original assessment. That it was determined that that had been paid off years ago, and that the judge who oversaw the settlement actually said, be glad that you have settled, because I would have immediately dissolved the SID. It's not a different situation. An assessment can't go forever. How do you figure an assessment can go forever? Where, in any codes, tax codes, it doesn't state that.
That's what it says, levy plus interest. Right now, I ordered on my
Levy
lot
plus interest.
in 1881. It was valued at $1,330. Right now, I owe $21,700 on that lot at 10%.
Well, then I would say that, you know what, I would say,
It's
seriously,
$2,000.
then you need to hire your own assessor who goes through all of the tax codes and re-explains to attorneys how an assessment can increase like that over the years and not reduce. Because that's not anything that the codes in the state of Arkansas state. That would be like saying that your house, it's similar to a mortgage, that you're making your monthly payments every year for 20 years and you started out at $200,000 and in year 20, you owe $500,000. I mean, that to me is the same
No, it's
mindset.
not ridiculous, because the assessment collected was never equal to the interest on your.
Okay,
So it kept growing.
How many people have outright owned a home or a lot? Anybody? Anybody? Owned it. Outright, owned it. All right. Well, I'm asking this question because you go, you purchase a home, and you pay it off. And then 10 years later,
That's only because.
Tom, let me finish. 10 years later, 5 years later, whatever, FNBC shows up at your door and said, you know what? We factored this wrong. You owe us another $30,000 plus on taxes that we didn't charge you for. But one nice thing is,
But that's
your
not-
neighbor is still paying.
That's not relevant, because when you do a loan, your payments per year is more than the
Your
interest.
payment,
Therefore, you pay down
yes,
the
at the
principal.
beginning, Tom,
Yeah.
at the beginning, your interest.
Guys,
is-
Okay, this is enough.
it doesn't matter what any, I'm sorry to say this, but it doesn't matter what questions or what feelings you guys have right now in this situation. We have not had any discussions.
Any negotiations.
We have not had our lawyers sit down with all of us to talk about this even. What we had to do tonight was to agree as a group of commissioners that we want our lawyer to represent us and to discuss this with Deb's lawyer.
Yes.
That's all we're doing tonight. We don't have any answers for you. We probably have more questions than you guys do.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So all this that we ask you to have a professional determined is understand.
I move to adjourn the meeting at 6:47.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Adjourn. Now you can have your discussion.
Right, now you guys can all talk amongst yourselves, but we don't have answers yet.